I never imagined I would be standing at my husband's funeral, 50 years of love, ending so abruptly, only to have it shattered again by those closest to me. The church smelled of lilies and roses, James's favorites, their sweetness mingling with the bitter tang of grief that clung to me like a second skin. My hands trembled as I gripped the pew, staring at his casket, as though he might somehow rise and tell me everything was all right. "Are you all right?" Mom Emily whispered, her voice strained with her own sorrow. I could only nod, unable to form words that would ever be adequate for the void left behind. James, my rock, my partner, gone. People had been arriving all morning, their faces solemn, black dresses and suits, a uniform of grief. Old friends, colleagues, neighbors, some faces I barely recognized, remnants of a life James had carried on, while I often faded into the background. Then I saw them. Michael, my son, tall and strong like his father, but with eyes colder than I had ever known. Behind him, Rebecca, his wife, gliding in like she belonged to another world, entirely pearl necklace designer, black dress posture, perfect and unwelcome presence at the heart of our family's grief. They hadn't visited James once in the hospital, and now here they were, threading through the mourners as if nothing had happened. "I should go say hello to your brother," I whispered to Emily, but she grabbed my hand firmly, her face tight with anger and restraint. "Mom, don't! Not now!" Their fight over James's medical care had drawn an invisible line across our family. Rebecca insisting hospice was the best choice, Emily desperate to try an experimental treatment, and I had been caught in the middle, helpless, as the life I loved slipped away. The pastor spoke words echoing in the cavernous space, but I barely heard them. My mind was filled with memories: our wedding day, the birth of our children. Quiet evenings on the porch, holding hands, decades of shared glances and gentle laughter. When it was our children's turn, Emily spoke, first voice breaking, as she recounted her father's love and guidance. Michael remained silent, rigid beside Rebecca, who whispered instructions that made him flinch, his expression unreadable. Then it was my turn. I walked to the podium with legs like lead, staring out at faces blurred by tears. James was everything to me. I began, my voice cracking, my husband, my best friend, my partner in all things. Tears flowed freely as I recalled 50 years of shared life, of struggles met together, of love enduring the storms. And then I heard it, Rebecca, her words cutting through the silence like a blade. "Look at those crocodile tears. She shouldn't even be crying." Gasps rippled through the room. Emily half rose, fury on her face. "Michael." He looked away, flushed with embarrassment, not for her, but for me. My world, already fractured by loss, felt reduced to whispers and judgment. The rest of the service passed in a haze. I did not hear the final prayers, only the sting of betrayal, the silence of the son who had once loved his father. But James had planned for this moment, even in death. His will, read immediately after the service, was a quiet promise that his love, his foresight, and his protection would endure long after he was gone. The attorney entered, files in hand, and Rebecca's posture stiffened, her carefully rehearsed smile tightening like a mask. Emily squeezed my hand under the table, a silent anchor of support. "Before we begin, Mrs. Holloway, there is a letter Mr. Holloway requested you read aloud," he said, handing me an envelope in James's familiar handwriting. My hands trembled as I unfolded it, the paper worn from repeated revisions, every crease a testament to his careful thought. "My dearest family," I began, voice trembling. "If you're reading this, I've moved on to whatever comes next. Don't be sad for too long. We all knew this day would come, and I've made my peace with it." I paused, swallowing back tears, and continued. "Tabitha, my love, you gave me 50 beautiful years. You stood by me through success and failure, through health and sickness. Everything I am, everything I achieved, I owe to your unwavering support. Michael's son. I've watched as you've drifted from the values your mother and I tried to instill in you. I hope one day you'll remember who you really are. Emily, my girl, thank you for your strength. Your mother will need that strength in the days ahead. I folded the letter, vision blurred by tears, as the attorney cleared his throat and began the reading of the will. To my wife, Tabitha Ann Holloway, I leave our family home free and clear, along with a monthly stipend of $4,000 for the remainder of her natural life. Relief washed over me, our home filled with decades of memories still ours. To my daughter, Emily Claire Holloway Jensen, I leave the sum of $100,000 and my collection of first edition books she has always admired. Emily gasped softly, the sentimental value mingling with the monetary. And to my son, Michael James Holloway, I leave the sum of $10,000. Rebecca's head snapped up, her confident smile faltering. Michael froze, confusion etched across his face, his mouth opening and closing as if the words had hit him like a physical blow. However, the attorney continued, holding up a hand. I have established a trust fund in the amount of $250,000 for my grandson, Jacob Michael Holloway, to be used exclusively for his education and well-being. Mrs. Holloway and I are named co-trustees. Rebecca's eyes blazed with fury. Her carefully constructed plans had collapsed under James's meticulous foresight. The remainder of James's estate, including investments, retirement accounts, and life insurance proceeds, was left to the James and Tabitha Holloway Foundation, supporting pediatric cancer research in memory of their first daughter, Sarah, who had died of leukemia. Rebecca sputtered. "This isn't fair, we'll contest it. Michael deserves his fair share." The attorney's calm voice cut through her protest, explaining James had left exhaustive records documenting financial assistance he had already provided to Michael, making any legal challenge unwise. Emily and I exchanged glances, hearts buoyed by James's final act of love. He had ensured that Rebecca's manipulation would not succeed, that our family would be protected. The meeting ended with Rebecca storming out, leaving Michael behind, pale and disoriented. He lingered a moment. Voice, small mom. "I didn't know about the foundation. About Sarah." "There's a lot you don't know, Michael," I replied softly. "But maybe now you'll start asking the right questions." Later, Mr. Donovan handed me a small envelope. "One more thing," he said quietly. "James asked me to give you this privately." Inside was a single key and a note in James's handwriting. "For when you're ready." That night, I sat in the kitchen, coffee forgotten, staring at the key and wondering what hidden plans James had set in motion. Then my phone buzzed. It was Emily. "Mom, have you seen what Rebecca posted?" she asked urgently. My stomach sank. Rebecca was already spinning her lies online, claiming we had manipulated James, twisting the narrative to paint herself and Michael as victims. I sank into a chair, fatigue pressing down like a physical weight, the key clutched tightly in my hand. James had anticipated this. He had always known, always planned. And now it was up to me to follow the path he had left, to protect the family he loved more than anything. The next morning there was a hesitant knock at the door. I opened it to find Michael disheveled and haunted a small suitcase at his side. "Mom," he said softly, eyes red-rimmed, voice cracking. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside wordlessly, and he sank onto the couch like the weight of the world had pinned him down. "Rebecca." "She wants me to move out of state," he whispered. "She says there's nothing for us here anymore." My chest tightened, the familiar ache of helplessness rising. She wanted to remove him completely from my life, to finish the isolation she had been building for years. I motioned for him to sit, sitting beside him and letting silence hang between us for a moment. Finally, he spoke again, voice low and bitter. "She says I have to choose her or you. She claims I can't have both." I reached out, taking his hand in mine, feeling the same strength I had held onto during his childhood. "Michael, that's not love. That's possession," I said gently. Voice firm but kind. He swallowed, nodding faintly, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. I don't know what to do," he admitted. Then his gaze fell to the envelope I had left on the coffee table, the key to James's hidden plan. Hesitation clouded his face as he reached for it. "What's this?" he asked. "Your father left it for me." I replied carefully, my voice barely above a whisper. I think he wanted me to use it if necessary. I handed him the contents, revealing pages of financial records, credit card statements, and private messages, all damning evidence of Rebecca's manipulation. Michael's eyes widened as he scanned the documents. "All this time, I defended her. I chose her over you and Dad," he muttered, voice thick with guilt and disbelief. I squeezed his hands, holding them as firmly as I could. "There's no blame, Michael. Your father saw it all and he prepared for this. He never stopped believing in you even when you didn't see the truth yourself." He sank back onto the couch, letting the weight of revelation wash over him. "I should have known. I should have seen it," he whispered, pacing the room, now torn between grief, anger, and relief. "Mom, I was blind." I pulled him into a hug, long and steady, feeling the years of distance melt slightly between us. "Your father's love never left you. Mine didn't either. And now you can finally see who you really are again," I said softly. That night, Michael stayed at home for the first time in years, sleeping in the guest room while I sat in James's favorite chair, holding the worn key in my hand and remembering his calm, confident smile. He had known exactly how far Rebecca would push, and he had left us the tools to protect ourselves, to protect Jacob, to protect Michael from losing himself completely. By morning, Michael was determined. "I'm filing for divorce," he said, resolute but cautious. "But I'm worried about Jacob. Rebecca will try to use him against me." I nodded, my own heart tightening at the thought, but I reassured him. "She won't. Your father planned for this. She can't control what he left behind." Michael's eyes brightened with a flicker of hope, the first spark of confidence returning to him in years. We laid out a careful plan using James's evidence, ensuring that Rebecca could not manipulate or deceive us anymore. Later that afternoon, while Jacob played in the backyard, Michael and I shared a quiet moment, looking over old family albums. Memories of birthdays, holidays, and long summer evenings filled the pages. Michael's hand brushed mine gently as he whispered, "Dad always knew what he was doing." I nodded, tears welling, feeling the truth of it in my bones. Yes, he did. He trusted us to see it through, and now we will. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, painting the sky in shades of amber and gold, I sat alone on the porch swing James had built decades ago. The gentle creak under my weight seemed to echo his presence. I whispered to the empty air, "You knew, didn't you? You saw it all, and you prepared us." The soft breeze felt like a reply, a quiet reassurance from the love that had never left us. That evening, the house felt alive with memories. The laughter of children, the faint scent of James's favorite pipe tobacco lingering in the corners, the warmth of the setting sun spilling through the windows, it all reminded me of how full our lives had once been. Michael and I sat on the porch swing, silent at first, watching Jacob chase a butterfly across the freshly cut grass, his little feet pounding softly against the lawn. He had turned 8 just last month, and the joy in his eyes was contagious. "Grandma, look," he called, holding up a caterpillar. "Can we put it in a jar and watch it turn into a butterfly?" I smiled a deep, unburdened smile and nodded. "Of course, sweetheart." "Your grandpa James would have loved that. He always had jars of interesting creatures when your dad was little." Michael lingered near the grill, flipping burgers just the way James had taught him. For the first time in years, he seemed like himself again, confident, present, patient, the boy we had raised now fully returned. I could see the strain of the past year easing from his shoulders. "Mom," he said quietly, walking over to me with a small leather notebook in hand. "I found this in the garage yesterday. I think it's Dad's journal." My heart leapt. I had assumed it was lost forever. The notebook was worn, edges frayed, but the familiar handwriting was unmistakable. With trembling hands, I opened it and began to read aloud the words, almost sacred. I've been thinking about legacy. The first page began dated shortly after James's diagnosis. Not money, not property. Those are just things he had written. The real legacy is the values we pass down, the lessons we teach, the love we share that continues after we're gone. Michael listened intently, occasionally wiping at the moisture gathering at the corners of his eyes. Page after page, James had documented his thoughts, his worries for Michael, his pride in Emily, his enduring love for me, and his meticulous planning to protect us after he was gone. Near the end, one entry stood out. Tabitha thinks I'm being too harsh with the will. She believes Michael will eventually see through Rebecca without my intervention. Perhaps she's right, she usually is. But I can't leave it to chance. I've seen the pain in my son's eyes, the way he's torn between his wife's demands and his love for his family. I have to give him a clear path back to us, even if it means making difficult choices now. I have to trust that the young man we raised is still in there fighting to get out, and when he does, we'll be waiting with open arms, ready to welcome him home. Michael's shoulders shook with silent sobs, finally understanding the depth of what his father had done. He knew I was trapped, he whispered, and he found a way to free me. I squeezed his hand. Your father always saw more than he let on. He believed in you even when you didn't believe in yourself. That night, the sky stretched over the backyard in a deep indigo stars, sparkling as if lit for us alone. Jacob's small voice startled me from my thoughts. Dad said I could stay with you tonight. Is that okay? I wiped my eyes and smiled. Of course it's okay. You can sleep in Grandpa's study on the pull-out sofa. He always said it was the best spot in the house. His face lit up, and I could see the circle of life continuing, even through the pain of loss. Later, Michael and I sat together on the porch swing, looking at the constellations his father had once taught him to identify. Do you think he knew how it would all turn out? Michael asked quietly, voice tinged with wonder. I looked up at the stars, feeling James's presence surrounding us. Yes, I said with certainty. He knew exactly what he was doing. He always did. The gentle night embraced us, carrying a sense of peace that felt earned, hard-won, and yet profoundly comforting. The next morning, sunlight poured softly through the kitchen windows as I made coffee, the quiet broken only by the hum of the refrigerator. Michael joined me, rubbing his eyes, still wearing the remnants of last night's exhaustion. We didn't need words at first. The air between us carried the understanding we had been missing for years. Finally, he spoke. Mom, I think I'm ready. I need to take care of this. I can't let her control the story anymore, or our family. I nodded, feeling a surge of pride and relief. Your father prepared you for this, Michael. He left everything you need to protect Jacob and to reclaim yourself. His phone buzzed insistently on the counter, notifications from Facebook messages from friends and family, and of course angry replies from Rebecca. She had already started spreading her lies, claiming he had abandoned her, and Jacob attempting to manipulate perception. He picked it up, scanning the messages with a hardened jaw, the spark of determination in his eyes finally visible. No more silence, he said firmly. He began typing, posting publicly. I've been silent too long. Out of respect for my late father and family, I let rumors go unanswered. But the truth is, my marriage was built on deception and manipulation. My wife married me for financial gain, not love. My parents always saw what I refused to see. Dad, if you're watching, I finally understand what you were trying to tell me. I'm sorry it took me so long. Within minutes, notifications flooded in support encouragement and even family affirmations. Michael looked up, a small smile breaking through the tension. The following months were challenging, but James's evidence and careful planning guided every step. The financial records, the messages, even the consultation with the divorce attorney all painted an undeniable picture of Rebecca's manipulations. When the court finally ruled, Michael was granted primary custody of Jacob. Rebecca's visits became supervised, and she soon moved to California, her attempts to separate father and son fading into irrelevance. Michael's confidence grew, his true character shining through, and our family slowly healed. One year after James's funeral, I watched from the porch as Jacob chased butterflies across the backyard. Michael flipped burgers on the grill, Emily arranged fresh fruit, and the sounds of laughter and life filled the spaces that had once been heavy with grief. The house, the garden, the family, it all felt renewed. Later, as I sat alone in James's favorite armchair, the worn leather of his journal resting in my lap, I felt him beside me in spirit, guiding, protecting, reminding me of the love that never fades. I think he knew Michael whispered beside me. He knew exactly how it would all turn out. I nodded. Yes. And he trusted us to do what was right. In that quiet, I realized the truth of what James had left us, a legacy, not of money or possessions, but of values, resilience, and unconditional love. He had pruned away the unhealthy branches, and the family tree had been allowed to thrive again. Life, I realized, often tests us in ways we cannot foresee. But even through manipulation, loss, and grief, love, careful, patient, guiding love, can restore what was thought lost. James's final act wasn't the will or the hidden evidence. It was the path he laid for us to find each other again, stronger, wiser, and more connected than before. If you've felt the sting of betrayal, the ache of loss, or the struggle to protect those you love, remember this: patience, clarity, and unwavering love can overcome even the darkest trials. If you found this story moving, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know the city you're watching from, because love, truth, and family deserve to be shared everywhere.